Hi,
Hey
Tiffany.
Adam, how are you?
Wonderful to see you. I'm doing well. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm live from just outside in Boston.
Wonderful. Yes, greetings from Berlin. Uh, our listeners may not know, but I lived in Boston for 11 years, so it has a soft spot in my heart. Can you hear me okay, Tiffany? Ooh, I heard you before, but I don't hear you now. Um, hmm. Yeah, I've lost your sound as well. Let's see. Just Yeah, unfortunately, we can't hear you right now. For those of you who are joining, by all means, send your questions in, and we will get to them in just a second once we start the conversation. Tiffany, can you hear me okay? Let's see if the earbuds will make the difference here. All right. Okay. Tiffany, I can't hear you. If I could read your lips, it looked like you might uh, leave and come back in. I couldn't tell. I think people can hear me, but are having trouble hearing you. All right, Tiffany will be back in just a second. So everybody who's here, please sit tight, and we'll be talking to Tiffany here very shortly about the future of luxury travel. Um, all right, just a moment here. We're connecting now. Tiffany, okay, I hear some
Hey,
background
hey,
noise.
I can hear you now. It's fantastic.
Wonderful, great. So yeah, so thanks everybody for joining. And Tiffany, I think I'll just do a quick intro of you for those who may not be familiar, and then we can just jump in. So today we have Tiffany Dowd, who many of you may know as Lux Tiffany. She's the founder and president of Lux Social Media, advising luxury hotels and brands on social media marketing. She has received accolades from Travel and Leisure, USA Today. She's a member of the Forbes Travel Guide Strategy Committee 2020. She did luxury hotel. She was a luxury hotel inspector for Condé Nast. I don't know how many more media titles I can work in here, but Tiffany was also the director of sales and marketing for her family's luxury boutique hotel in Turks and Caicos. And for anybody who wants to follow her, go to at Lux Tiffany on the socials, and you can follow her there. And so I would say, welcome, Tiffany.
Thanks, Adam.
Yes. Now, uh, for those who are just joining, if you have any questions, by all means, send them in, and we'll keep an eye on the feed and get to what we can. But I'll just start and say, start with just kind of defining luxury travel. You know, when people say luxury travel, what I could say what does that mean, but maybe it's more accurate to say what did that mean a few months ago, and what do you think luxury
Right.
travel will
I
mean?
know things have changed so much.
Yeah.
Well, I think, everybody's definition of luxury travel is different. For one person, it might be an indulgent stay at the George Cinq in Paris. And for another person, it might be staying in a private luxury villa on an island in French Polynesia. um, Great service, beautiful accommodations, and anything at any time type of service. And I don't think that any of that per se has changed as to how we define luxury travel today. But I do think that the difference now in these post COVID times is the fact that trust, safety, and flexibility are more important than ever when staying anywhere around the world, in any hotel, in any villa, any type of accommodations.
Okay. And what does the luxury travel experience mean for the other elements of travel, whether it's a tour or transportation, flying, lounges? You know, how could some of those things be? What would it mean for some of those to be luxury going forward?
Well, it's interesting because, hotels right now are spending hundreds of thousands of dollars to revamp their experiences for people to come so they can be more socially distant. And so it's sort of like we have had, it was all about personalized service, and now it's about personalized distancing in many ways. The whole experience of arriving to a hotel now is going to be very different. From the check-in process to limited contact with the staff members to now no longer being ushered to your hotel room by an employee. When you think about going, oh, we're having an
Second
audio problem
process.
again. How
Oh,
strange.
there we
Can
go.
you
I
hear me
hear you
now?
now. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. But about socially distancing and being around a pool, for instance, making sure that pool chairs are 6 feet apart. And when you're dining in the restaurants, that they're not taking the full capacity and that tables are more distant. And beach lounge chairs are further apart. We're going to be talking about things during the guest experience. Will we have mini bars anymore? Will we have, there's just so many things that are going to change now. And I do think that, you were asking as well, beyond just hotels, I think we're going to see a rise in more personalized tours and things that people can do that are very customized. So again, it's about, I'm now going to phrase it, personalized distancing. And you think about a safari, for instance, you go on a Land Rover with people, and now they're going to have to revamp that whole process. Will it be one family per Land Rover going out on a game drive when it used to be that you used to go out with different families and get to meet new people? And I think that will change as well. So hotels right now are actively working to see how the best process will be for their hotels moving forward.
Okay. Um, Now, I've been reading on luxury travel that, or just luxury travel news, some people are thinking that luxury travel will be one of the first sectors in travel to rebound. And now, in some respects, this makes sense because people with financial means can afford to travel and may not have been impacted as much by the economic
Right.
downturn. But what are some of the other? It's not just money, but what are some of the other reasons that luxury travel could bounce back first?
Well, I think it boils down to the fact we've all been cooped up for a couple months. So it's not just the luxury travel segment that's ready to travel. I know I'm ready to travel. I haven't traveled since the first week of March. And for me, I travel pretty much every other week. So now that the weather's getting better, we're getting really excited to all travel. But when you think about the fact that the luxury travel industry supports 170 million jobs, that's a lot. And luxury travelers obviously have the money to travel. um, if we start traveling, you are going to start boosting economies and people are going to be employed, and anybody that's involved in the luxury tourism or just the tourism sector in general, you're going to kickstart their economies by traveling. So and that also goes back to the fact that luxury are also concerned about sustainability. And
Mhm.
what that means is sustainability isn't just about paper straws. It's about supporting local communities that support luxury hotels, local fishermen, local farms, anything that's produced in the hotel locally. So you're stimulating the economies around not just the hotel, but wherever the location is. So it's highly important that we start traveling when you're ready to travel.
Yeah. And I'm going to work in a question here that somebody had asked. Let's see. It was um, Jorge Collazo. He said, "Do you think
Hi,
guests will want?"
Jorge.
Um, he said, "Do you think guests will want to know if employees have been tested?" I think I've seen that. I believe the Venetian in Las Vegas said that they're going to start having testing beforehand. So yeah, what will guests want to know about the staff wherever they're going?
That's a great question, Jorge. I think that it's so important now for hotels to start working on their communication in advance of a guest coming to a hotel. So it shouldn't be a surprise to anybody that when they come to stay at a hotel to think, oh, wait, has this person been tested? You will have already been informed by the hotel, by your travel advisor, of the um, of the policies in place by the hotel. And part of this new movement of travel in these post-COVID times is to be managing people's expectations. And so with that, that means clear communication. And I think one of the things that I think is so fantastic right now is you're seeing more communication starting by, I'm just going to name a few hotel groups. Four Seasons has announced that they have a Lead with Care program that will, it's all about the health and safety and cleanliness throughout their whole brand. Then you've got the Accor All Safe label, same thing. These hotels are starting to tell you what the policies are for health and safety when you travel. So they're managing the expectations so that you feel comfortable and you have a calm experience, because no doubt traveling in these times makes us feel uncomfortable. And so by giving you more information, I think it helps make people feel more comfortable. And I want to go back to the Four Seasons again. They're partnering with Johns Hopkins Medicine. And so you're seeing a lot of these hotel groups bringing in medical experts, infectious disease experts to train their staff about all of this properly. And I think it's a sense of comfort for everybody. I think that, you know, people need to feel safe and secure. And that to me is what luxury is going to mean when you travel.
Okay. And of course, we're in the chauffeur business specifically. So I have to ask, what would feeling safe and secure in a chauffeur mean for you?
Well, you know, I've always felt safe in a chauffeur because I use the same, I use Blacklane. I love Blacklane because I think it's consistent, and I'm looking for consistency. But some of the things I foresee changing is I know that when I land at Heathrow and Blacklane picks me up, he says, "Can I take your bags for you?" And you might go, "Yes, I'm tired," and they might wipe it down. You get into the car, maybe you open your own car door. Maybe you won't see people opening car doors for you. They'll put your luggage in the trunk. You'll have, I would hope that there would be some hand sanitizer in there in addition to, hey, we have a bottle of water and some mints in the back for you. Here's some hand sanitizer, and, you know, just keeping a bit more socially distant. But I think it's going to be a popular way to travel, short distance, long distance for people now. It's a great option to maybe trying to fly in an airport right now.
Sure. And I will say, you know, stay tuned for the specific things that we will have coming out regarding how the guest experience will change. Some things have already changed, but, you know, we have thought through all of these issues on everything from wiping down luggage to making sure that chauffeurs do not have the air circulation on, you know, that option from the air conditioner in the car.
Good point.
So there's a lot of finer points that we have thought through, and we'll be educating our chauffeurs on the specific steps that they need to eliminate or need to just double check. One of the great things I think about the chauffeur industry is that chauffeurs are already service oriented and guest focused, but now that just needs to be applied in new ways. And yeah, so
right, and I think it goes back to what we're saying, managing expectations.
Yep.
And when you can communicate that, people want to stay in places, they want to work with brands and use companies that they trust. And right now, trust is just everything for us because we're so nervous about going out. You know, it's what they call it, FOGO, fear of going out. And
yeah, I had not heard that one yet, but yeah, hopefully all of us in the travel sector, luxury or otherwise, can do our part to reduce that fear as much as possible.
yeah.
You know, so in this new normal of travel, what are some of the things that you will miss from how it used to be to how it's going to be?
Well, I think anybody who knows me, I'm a huge fan of the Caribbean, and I love visiting the islands. I've been going there since I was a small child, and I think about the warm hospitality and the warm greetings, and sometimes I'd go to resorts and I would get large hugs and big smiles, and I think I'm going to miss the feeling of, you know, getting that essence of warmth. It's challenging. I mean, how do you can't smile behind a mask, you can't hug someone. And so it's, trying to convey, and I've been reading things like people should smile behind their masks because you can feel it.
Hmm.
I like that. Even though you're behind a mask, and you're a smiley person, you just keep smiling because you can feel it. You can smile with your eyes. So those, conveying the essence of hospitality, I think, is going to be a challenge, and missing that sort of contact. And another thing that I can think about is maybe, when you stay at a resort, there are opportunities to meet other guests. There might be a manager's cocktail party. You might, like I mentioned, go on a safari and be with other people on the Land Rover. And you have these wonderful opportunities to connect and meet people. And you have these lifelong friendships with these people afterwards. And in this short term, while we're socially distancing, I think that there are going to be fewer opportunities to have those connections right now. I'm hopeful this will change, obviously, at some point when we have a vaccine in the future, and but in the short term, those will be some of the things that I'll be missing.
Yeah, the smile with your eyes, that's fantastic. And that I like that a lot. And my guess is, and my hope is, that with Blacklane Chauffeurs, with no matter where people go, that you'll see that and feel that. You mentioned that that chauffeur could replace, more people could turn to chauffeurs for some longer rides, as they look for alternative travel. And we've seen this certainly some where there's the average distance of the rides that we've been happening over the past couple of months is double what it normally was. So there certainly are some longer trips, people going from, say, New York to the Hamptons, or a lot in the Northeast corridor. But do you think that the overall that luxury travelers will be looking for a variety of ways to avoid airports? I mean, will they look for private jets more, or consider chauffeurs more, or is that first class, business class experience so ingrained that they'll be loyal and stick with it?
Well, I think people are looking for the most reliable way to get anywhere. So if you're talking about chauffeurs, and that, I think that the benefit of taking a chauffeur to New York from Boston, New York to DC on business, for instance, is the reliability. You don't have to worry about airports and your flight getting canceled. And right now there's a lot of inconsistency, and if you really need to get from A to B, a chauffeur is a great option. We are seeing the rise of the use of private jets. I'm hearing my friends who are luxury travel advisors getting more requests for private jets. And one of the big reasons there is that through the CARES Act, they suspended a 7.5% federal aviation tax. So the cost of private jets has gone down, not to mention jet fuel prices are lower. So they are seeing increased demand even for shorter flights. So that has been interesting to see as well. But I think that, when it comes to first class and business travel, not everybody can afford a private jet, but I think the experience will still be a good one, as airlines are starting to share what their new policies are, requiring masks as well. So we're just in different times, and it's all going to be based on what your personal need is, really.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad you mentioned luxury travel advisors. When a few weeks ago we spoke to Johnny Jett, and he said that travel advisors would be the big winners, or one of the big winners, post coronavirus travel. Do you see do you see that holding true in the luxury side as well, or is it something that more maybe the mid-market would start doing now, just so they don't have to deal with potential hassles and cancellations?
Yeah, well, first I'd like to give a shout out to all my luxury travel advisor friends. I think all of you have been heroes in these COVID times. They have been tirelessly working to repatriate people who have been abroad during the time when borders were closing. Travel advisors have been rebooking people for their trips and managing cancellations tirelessly. And it's it can be a thankless job sometimes at this time. But I think now more than ever, travel advisors have never been more important. I personally use a travel advisor because I've always believed that it makes it easier for me, because time is a luxury. And when we talk about trust, safety, and flexibility again, which is sort of, what I feel is what we're focused on in luxury travel, is I want to stay at a hotel and work with a luxury travel advisor who has a relationship with that hotel. They're going to know what their policies are. They're going to be able to relay to me what to expect. And I know that I'm going to be well taken care of because that person has a personal relationship with the hotels and the tour operators and maybe even some of the restaurants. And there's this saying that one of a very popular luxury travel advisor says, you can't VIP yourself. I think it's Ann Scully who says that. You can't VIP yourself. And so when you use a luxury travel advisor, they are your best advocate. But then going back to safety, if you have any issues, they are able to help you and be your best advocate. So I think that now more than ever is the best time to start using a travel agent travel advisor because of their connections.
And for somebody who wanted to use one for the first time, where would you recommend that there's some places they can start, whether it's big names or how do you know if you're finding a reputable luxury travel advisor?
Well, I would recommend going to virtuoso.com, and there you can find a luxury travel advisor in your area that specializes in the places that you want to go. And, also word of mouth and recommendations by people, but virtuoso.com would be a great start. And it's full of information that they can go to. It's I use a Virtuoso travel advisor as well.
Okay, wonderful. Now, one of the questions that people are having about travel, I think luxury or otherwise, is how rates will be impacted. And there was one question that came in over social where beforehand, where somebody said, I wanted to ask, where do you see the rates of luxury hotels going after COVID-19? This came from somebody in Australia who, due to time, might not be watching, but it wanted us to ask and to discuss that topic.
It's an interesting one because the expectation, your first thought would be that, hotels are desperate to get people back. They're going to reduce their prices. And the truth is that, right now we are starting to see some special offers from hotels for the people who want to book sometime this summer. But people have to remember that hotels will be they'll be operating on lower occupancy. And in order to provide all of the measures to make you feel safe and have a good socially distant experience, it does cost money. So right now, I think that, there are going to be people who can take advantage of some good offers. If you work with a travel advisor, they're going to find you added value. I think expect to see more added value offers than maybe rate discounts. You may see a few free nights, but it would be more about added value, maybe F&B credits, things that can offer you something more. And I think as we start to open up more and we start to get more towards the festive season, which is the Christmas season, I think that you're going to start to see rates go up. So now's the time to take advantage of some of the offers that hotels are doing. I'm seeing, they're offering gift certificates, or you could buy a gift certificate for 500 euros and it's worth 650 euros if you travel within the next year and a half. To take advantage of those offers now because they are limited time and they won't be around forever. And I think you might kick yourself if you kind of wait too long and go, oh, we're going to think about traveling at Christmas, and they go, sorry, we're full. So it's how I see it. I don't see it going down. I think you may see more added value.
Okay. Yeah, and I've also seen some new creativity in the luxury space. I think there was a resort in Dubai that is offering not a staycation, but a daycation, where you can go and have a room there for the day and enjoy some of the restaurants and get the beach access. Because I think in Dubai, if I recall, private beaches are open, but public beaches are not, or something along those lines. And so they're saying, hey, come to our beach and enjoy it, and enjoy the hotel amenities, and just have a day here at the resort.
And it's interesting because Qatar Airlines is offering a really flexible promotion right now that you can book and change your ticket as many times as you want without any fees. And you can even change the destination within 5,000 miles without any fees. through the end of the year. So, but I think you have to book by September or something like that. So my luxury travel advisor friends are saying, wow, this is a really, really flexible offer. So again, going back to the fact that flexibility is really important to us right now, because people will be looking to see, well, if I book that hotel and I have to cancel for any reason, can I get my money back? So flexibility is a big thing right now.
Yeah, it's a great point.
Yeah.
Thinking about other segments of luxury travel, where else could we see some increased demand? I feel like for any kind of experience, for a hotel, you could, you have suites or luxury villas. For a tour that has 50 people, there's probably a luxury one that has 15. For every cruise ship, there is a high-end cruise ship. So what are some of the segments of luxury travel that could end up being winners or recovering faster once people do start traveling again?
I definitely see an increase in demand for private villas. And I'm not talking necessarily an Airbnb, but I'm talking about a fully serviced villa within a hotel. So you get the luxury of being socially distant, but still have it managed by a luxury property. So I can see the demand for maybe flying into a destination in a private jet and then being whisked off in your private car to your fully serviced, that's already pre-stocked private villa, and have a great vacation for a week and not see anybody. So I think that will increase. I would like to give a shout out to my small luxury cruise friends, because that's something people think, oh, well, right now I wouldn't go on a cruise, and we can't go on a cruise right now. We don't know when we can go on a cruise, but there are people who are very, very loyal to cruising. So when small luxury cruises start to sail again, I think you're going to see more demand for that. I personally have always been a hotel person. Everybody knows that, and never ever thought I would enjoy cruising. And in the past couple of years, I've had the opportunity to go to some amazing, amazing destinations in Europe on a small luxury cruise, and it felt like a yacht on the seas. So it will just be a matter of time when they start to get their health and safety policies back. I think cruising will be big. But right now, also too, I saw an article yesterday about luxury RVs. I never thought that would be an option. And I said to my husband, like, that would be kind of fun. But you don't camp and you don't go in RVs. And I thought, yeah, if it was kind of decked out and we could see more of the United States or maybe Canada, that would be kind of fun. So we're starting to think about, traveling locally as well. Half the people that you would ask would say, you know what, I really do want to stay closer to home. And so for me in Boston, I'm 4 hours from Canada. I never visit Canada. I'm actually Canadian as well. And I don't go to Canada enough. Why not? I should. I need to go to Montreal and to Quebec and see some of the beautiful lakes and more of New England. And I think no matter where we all are, we should probably think about maybe exploring closer to home, because there's some beautiful places. Because I personally am guilty of being one of these people that when I think of travel, it means I have to pull my passport out. And right now, that's just not possible. So I'm thinking about, well, if I go somewhere by car, maybe a luxury RV, that might never happen, but it's going to be closer to home.
Yeah. So there was a ton of great information in there, and I'll do a say hello back to all of our...
Shout out to Maine. I see somebody mentioning Maine, so I do want to say that New England, Vermont, New Hampshire, beautiful places as well.
Yes, I mean, I got engaged in Maine, so it will always hold a special place in my heart, and went to Montreal.
You and I are fellow BU journalism grads.
We are. I didn't want to... I didn't want to go into the Boston schools, and just because we went to the best one, I just didn't think it was necessary.
I'm a USC grad too, so I'm a Trojan.
Right. So Jill Killeen here makes a good point that right now the border between Canada and the U.S. is closed for non-essential travel. So we are not recommending that anybody
We're
try
not
to.
recommending going there, but it should be by the end of the summer. We're hoping
Yes.
that those borders do open. So we're not talking about going to Canada tomorrow, but
No.
when we do think about summer vacation and later, let's start thinking about going places that are closer to home. But no, definitely why you should research and use a travel advisor, or when you're working with people, because it does get confusing. We are
Right.
so confused right now about what's open, what's closed, who can come, who can't, do I have to quarantine? And, you know, it's a lot of information.
Right. And yeah, a travel advisor, they know, yeah, they know that information. And then depending what passport you hold, what kind of restrictions do you have, and all these things. One thing I want to say, seeing, you know, we have people from, I've seen Canada and Denmark for sure on here, and I know Germany and the US, but you made a point that there's so many beautiful places close to home. And I'm sure that that's true for everybody on here, no matter where they're watching from. And so figuring out where, you know, where near you can have that experience.
I'm excited to hear about the travel corridors. You know, in Europe that countries are looking to partner with each other to allow free travel amongst certain countries. And so that hopefully will make it a little bit easier right now. But again, we hope that these are just short-term things, and at some point the borders will fully open to everybody.
Right. Now, I'm going to go back to a question that someone from Denmark asked a while ago. If I can find it here. Special Service Denmark had asked, you know, where, Tiffany, do you look for travel advice? And it's kind of ironic because, you know, most of us look to you for travel advice. So where do you look for, whether it's media, social, your networks, you know, where do you get information on to get travel advice for you?
I'm really fortunate. I have a great network of friends in the luxury travel industry. So I get a lot of my recommendations from word of mouth. My last trip was planned through Smart Flyer in New York, the luxury virtuoso travel agency, one of the very best. I will book my air and my hotels through them, or sometimes I book hotels directly. I love to read travel magazines, social media as well. That's, you know, probably most of it.
Yeah.
And I'm a bit impulsive too. You know, I'm not much of a planner. Like if I want to go someplace, like I don't plan it too far in advance. Like I just get on a plane and go.
All right. So I know we're getting close to the end here. So I do have to ask where, you know, you just said you don't plan too much, but where are the places you want to go next when you can travel? Like what's the first place or two on your list?
I am so anxious to get back to London. I love London. I think it's always been my pivot point to go to other countries in Europe, but I just love spending so much time in London. I have so many friends there, and so that internationally would be where I want to go first. Internationally as well, I can't wait to go back to the Caribbean. I can't wait for long, long beach walks, sunshine, going to cute little beach bars, just hanging out, feeling a bit socially distant with a tropical breeze. Those are just a few of the places I want to go. And then I'm dreaming about a really great meal on the Amalfi Coast of Italy at some point. You know, actually, I saw a question come through here that I thought was really interesting.
Please.
Someone, you know, my friend Steffi was asking about elevators
Yes.
in hotels. That, you know, I mean, that's just going to be a safety thing. You know, yes, it's going to be a little bit more challenging going into hotels, and some of the policies will be that only one person can go up an elevator at a time, and each hotel will have different policies. So I just wanted to address that because I think, you know, there's these concerns of what's it going to be like when you stay in a big hotel. Wynn Hotels has done a really great job about putting out a great program about how their hotels and casinos will operate moving forward. And I think that, again, it's just about managing expectations for all of this.
Right.
So jumping from great destinations to that, but I did want to address that.
No, that's great. Yeah. When we were speaking with a Skift editor, Matt Parsons, a few weeks ago, I remember just talking about, we were discussing hotel elevators and so many places where you could have some kind of physical, you know, contact with something physical, you know, with your hands. So as an example, would elevators shift, you know, so that would there be some kind of motion detection, or could you just hold your key card up to it instead of having to hit the button to go up? You know, are there ways that you can just eliminate touch points, and our hotels looking at that as well?
I'm seeing a question about immunity passports. Oh, that's great. And actually, I'm seeing people tell me when their hotels are opening. So if you are a hotelier watching right now, will you please type in the comments when your hotels are opening? I think that would be really fun because I'm seeing the Belmont Hotel Caruso will open July 1st, which is so exciting.
Yep. And we're going to put this on Instagram TV too after, so people will be able to.
Yeah, so put in when you're opening, because every day we're getting more exciting news about hotels opening. And so somebody had a question about immunity passports. I don't have enough information on that right now. I'm not so sure how I feel about that right now, in the sense that I don't feel like enough of us probably have immunity. And so to have to be beholden to the fact that we can't travel unless we have immunity is a challenging one. So I think for the same person that's concerned about immunity passports is probably the same person who's very anxious to see the vaccine come out. Which there was some great news this week about that, that people that were being tested were starting to show immunity. So that was some good news.
Yeah, very good news. Yeah, love seeing all the places that are opening, and all around the world already. So it's wonderful. One of the ways that we have ended conversations, and if we get other great questions, it doesn't have to be the final end, but we've always, with so much uncertainty and bad news in travel lately, we've borrowed a page from another Bostonian, John Krasinski, and are ending with some good news to make sure that there's a high note at the end. So what would be some of the best news you've seen that will impact the future of luxury travel?
Hands down, the best tweet I had last week, I'd say the most popular tweet, was the fact that Italy is opening its borders June 3rd, but to Europeans. That's the only caveat right now. Us Americans, I think it's our #1 destination in the summer, and people are so excited to see Italy reopen. I think that, you know, they've really, really had a bad time with this, and the fact that they are opening is so exciting. And yesterday there was news that everybody's favorite hotel on Lake Como, Grand Hotel Tremezzo, was opening on June 26th. And these are signs of hope. And as everybody is, you know, the hoteliers are typing in like Nobu and Los Cabos, I think, did I see was opening and coming up in July. And you've got all these different hotels opening. We're seeing hope. And we're seeing the light at the end of this travel tunnel. And I think as the weather's getting better, we're starting to get excited. And I think that, just going back really quickly to these hotel openings, is that at the end of the day, it's going to be your personal choice about how comfortable you feel traveling. Just because we're saying our hotels are open might not mean you're comfortable traveling right now, and that's okay. You travel when you feel comfortable. But I think a point is going to come where people will start traveling and their friends will start sharing on social media, and this FOGO I talked about, fear of going out, will turn back into FOMO, fear of missing out, and that we will start traveling again. And there's a lot of hope, and there are a lot of just incredible people around the world that are waiting to meet you, and I'm just really looking forward myself to start traveling. So keep those hotels opening and keep communicating with us and keep sharing what's happening to manage our expectations, because we will come back. We always do.
Yeah, I don't know that I could end it better than that, except just to say, if you want to experience some FOMO, then I would say to go to your Instagram page, because you mentioned Italy. You had a picture of Florence recently. I think you know, the river with the covered bridges, and there's so many pictures you post on there that could make one have the fear of missing out.
Nothing like having a coffee overlooking the, you know, the Ponte Vecchio,
right,
or the Arno River. So
of course. So I'll just remind everybody, follow Tiffany Dowd at Lux Tiffany, Twitter, Instagram. And Tiffany, we really appreciate your time, your conversation. We'll post this to Instagram TV, and great insights, wonderful conversation, and thanks for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Adam, and I hope everybody stays well, and I hope you keep dreaming, and dream now, travel later.
Thanks.
And happy traveling. Stay well.
Yes, all the best to you. Thank you, Tiffany.
Bye now.
Bye.